Hello, I'm back. The ROKER Report Xtra podcast. It's been absolutely ages. I think last year I don't want to say give up, but towards the end it just became a bit fruitless, didn't it? But we're back. We've got a new chairman, we've got new players, we've got rid of a lot of the shite, got a new season. There's a bit of optimism there, so far. Don't really know how long it's going to last. Hopefully it does. Hopefully we're out of this division as soon as possible, but easier said than done. And to discuss what the division's going to be like and what our first team, Charlton, who is a team we know quite well, especially if you're born in the 90s, I've got Nathan from Charlton Live. How are you doing today, Nathan? You all right?
Yeah, not bad. Living the dream, mate. You?
At the minute, Ella Short's gone. That's kind of the closest to living the dream as we can get, mate. Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. You'll find it interesting, especially the away grounds that you're probably going to go to that you probably never think you'd ever go to.
Yeah, I mean, Accrington Stanley's a bit... I don't want to sound like a football snob, but I thought those days had gone, if I'm honest, but they're back. And I suppose you've got to embrace them. And I think we have. A lot of people have embraced it, but I think the big thing with Sunderland at the minute, and I think everyone will probably agree with me here, is the simple fact that we've got a new chairman. Yeah, not everyone's... 95% of people seem to be on board with Stuart Donald, but you've always got that 5% that moan and whinge, but everyone seems relatively positive. But I suppose, winning games is what will really turn that into a snowball effect. But at Charlton, it's a very different story, isn't it? I mean, I'm trying to read up on what's going on with Lee Bowyer, but you know what? I've got you at hand. You're the expert. You're the subject matter expert. What's going on?
See, you'd think, but to be honest, the whole takeover stuff's been going on for it seems like an age now. I mean, February was the last when it's first heard the rumblings of this Australian consortium who were shown an interest. Obviously, with Roland there at the moment, there's obviously sticking points. People read up on it and give their 2 pence worth, which is fine. But I'm just in the camp that, just have to wait till it's official because, there's obviously a sticking point somewhere. We don't know what it is. Whether or not Bowyer will be appointed permanent manager come Saturday, it's possible. But the whole situation at Charlton at the moment it's just a never-ending story, which it's difficult. It's different for you guys because obviously you've had the change in ownership, which, for you guys, hopefully it's going to be positive. And obviously for you guys, it's going to be a case of stopping that losing mentality, so to speak, which I think you finished on a high towards the end of the year, haven't you? So yeah, it's a fresh start. But for us, it just seems to be a nightmare for the last 2 years. And we just want it ended and have a new ownership like you guys have.
I think it's funny because when you look through the division, and obviously I think any self-respecting Sunderland fans got to be looking at us getting straight out of this division. But when you look at the teams that probably challenge us for promotion this season, hopefully if we do go for it, Charlton are up there, but there's so much upheaval. What is the situation with Lee Bowyer at the moment?
See, obviously Bo's come in last year, and it was obviously when Robinson was in charge. He's obviously now at Oxford, and Robinson was stuck in his ways in terms of his tactics. So it was always 4-2-3-1, win, lose or draw in the game. That's what he was doing. Bowyer came in, put 2 up top. He plays a very narrow formation, which might be good for you guys because I know you obviously Reece James is out at the moment, isn't it? And I mean, you're quite light in the fullback areas, but he came in. He brought a diamond formation in and he played the system that suited the players. And we went on a sort of a run which we never envisaged that we was going to come into. We was playing, we beat 4 out of the top 6 or something. We missed that slightly against Shrewsbury. And obviously with the situation it made sense to appoint Bowyer as manager, but he's only there at caretaker level at the moment because we don't know if these new owners, whoever they are, obviously they're Australian, but if it goes through, if they want him at the helm. So, but Bowyer's come out and said, throughout the process, he's just going to crack on and does what he always does, and that's obviously to try and win games. But like you say, it's a bit of a upheaval at the moment. We don't know whether we're coming or going. I think we're full favourites to be promoted, which I think is very generous because I think there's a lot of teams out there with better squads. You look at the teams like Peterborough and Plymouth who have bought some very good players, and we're sort of just getting rid of ours, it seems, and then we're going to have to rely a lot on youth.
I was looking through sort of the signings that you brought in because normally you can look at results and look at the last 5 results and so on and so forth. But I've been looking at, because it's pre-season's first game. I was looking at who you'd brought in, and with Sunderland at the moment, we've brought a lot of people in. There's a lot of people saying, "Oh, we need more strikers." We've only really brought in Jerome Sinclair, and I'm sure that'll happen. We've been linked to Charlie Wyke, but with your situation, how much is that affecting bringing players in? With it, aside from Lyle Taylor, of course, who you took off us, I think.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I mean. I mean, when Lyle Taylor was linked with you guys, it was a surprise that he did come to us because, in my opinion, I think you're probably more or less got with the signings you've got for sure, you're going to be up there or thereabouts. But I think it's probably more of a geographical thing for him. Obviously, coming around from, raised in South London. But so I mean, we brought in Taylor, we've brought in Darren Prattley. It's a good sign at that level, but he's getting on a bit now. He's not spring chicken, is he? So, but and like you say, it probably will play a part of if a player's looking at us. It's like, well, you don't really know. Is it a happy place? There's a lot of doubt at the moment. For me, it must play a part, but it's obviously Roland wants to cut the cloth accordingly, to put as an understatement along the lines. And obviously Bowie's just got to get on with it. We've just sold Josh McGuinness as well, for a fee rumoured to be around 200,000, which is laughable, but he's obviously doing what he's doing. But it's hard to attract players when when you're in the light, when you're in the press and it's all negative. I mean, why would you move to us at the moment? We're still, in comparison to the other clubs, no disrespect, one of the biggest clubs in that league still. But obviously, it's still going to be a distraction for players to come to us.
The thing with Lyle Taylor, again, I don't know. I didn't know whether I expected him to go to us. I kind of had a feeling he might want to stay down south. So I wasn't too surprised. But I think what made me realise that I knew he was definitely going to Charlton, I think Ian Hart is his agent. And obviously Bowyer, and I could be wrong with that, but Bowyer and Ian Hart, I'm assuming something happened there. So maybe that was one of the reasons you brought that guy in. But aside from that, there's only been Darren Prattley you brought in. Is it 2 players you brought?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously on Taylor, we did inquire about him in January. I mean, he scored 1 in 3 goals for AFC Wimbledon that were struggling. To do that at a struggling team, you've got to have something about you. We inquired in January, and obviously we knew he was becoming a free in the summer, and then obviously with your predicament, obviously you got down, and then he was going to be a main rival. I do believe that I think you guys offered him a better financial package, which wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, whether or not, because obviously hit Ian Hart and Bowes at Leeds, there might be something there. I'm not too sure, but yeah. So we signed Taylor, Darren Prattley, but I don't think he's going to be match fit for Saturday. Well, that's what Bo said anyway. But we've got Igor Vetakali back, which seems like a new signing, but he was on loan out last year at Belgium. He looked good, but then he got injured. So a lot of our attacking players are injured. So we're quite down to the bones, so to speak, for Saturday. But I mean, Bo's come out and said that he does want another goalie, because we've only got Dylan Phillips, who's played a handful of games, in the professional leagues. He's played at National League. I think he's after another striker, winger. And obviously we're still light at centre back and centre midfield. So we've still got a lot to come in, but it all depends on how much Roland's going to give, which the rumblings that happen isn't very much. So, and I think the transfer window finishes earlier this year, doesn't it? But then the loans 9th, I think. Yeah, and then the loans you can do to the end of the month. So if you look at the squad that we had last year, I think we've got about 6 players are no longer here, especially with Ben Amos going to Millwall, Jada Silva going back to Chelsea, Remon's going to the Championship, obviously Mavadidi. We've got a load of players that have gone and haven't come back. So I think I'm trying to be optimistic, but I just think when we know, because I think we've got 4 or 5 players. Fos, who's out for 6 weeks. Vetakali's out for 6 weeks. Billy Clark's out for 6 weeks. Reeves is out for 6 weeks. So when they come back, it'll be fine. But once we get an injury, which this league is Saturday, Tuesday, it takes its toll, and that's what I think we're going to struggle with. So for sure, Bowyer does need to get some players in, but it depends. He doesn't control the purse strings.
So looking at us, I suppose on the flip side, we've had this takeover. We brought a lot of players in, but we've only recently spent money. If you look through sort of the squad we've brought in, we've only really spent money off the top of my head on Jack Baldwin. Now, the weird thing being a Sunderland fan, and again, it's I would like to think it's not ignorance, but it's like the fall from grace has been pretty fast, and getting a grip on which players we brought in. A lot of people have had like an open mind, but we don't really know that much about certain players. And you mentioned Reece James before. Now, if you look through the players we brought from League One, we've got like Baldwin, we've got Reece James, we've got I think I'm pronouncing this right, O'Neill from Wickham.
Yeah.
Well, from an outside perspective looking in, without sounding really, really ignorant towards the other teams and no disrespect to them, we've never been in this division. We don't really watch this division. From a League One team looking at Sunderland, what do you think of our squad as we're building it up? Does it look like a good, solid squad looking from the outside looking in?
Yeah, I think obviously when I've looked at the, I've kept up with your signings because obviously you're going to be one of the rivals to go up.
Hopefully,
yeah. I mean, you're buying good players for this league. So I don't know who you do have in the background to do the scouting, but whoever it is does know the league or is definitely getting advised correctly on the league. Because Jack Baldwin's a very good centre half. He's very good on the ball. Luke O'Neill's pacey. He's just come up from Wickham. Will he make the step up to League One? I don't know, but he's definitely worth a risk. I think Jerome Sinclair. I think for me, I mean, I know you've got the guy from, was it Hibernian? The Dylan. Yeah, so he looks a good player. I think Jerome Sinclair has got pedigree, but again, he hasn't had too many games. But I think that the thing in this league, you're going to need someone who's going to get you 15 goals. And that's what we struggled with last year. I think we had one of the top 6 defences, I think, in the league. But our scoring record was appalling. And that's where we fell short. So I think if you get, if you had, say, we both know Darren Bent, if you had someone of that ilk, in this league, you'd win. Peterborough last year, they had Jack Marriott who banged them in for fun, and they didn't even get into the playoffs. So, and that's where the fine line is. So I think if you get a decent striker in, which I'm sure, obviously, your gaffer's trying to do, I think you're definitely a force to be reckoned with. But the signings you've made so far, for sure, very good for this level, without a doubt.
Yeah, and I mean, McGeoch, I actually live in Glasgow, so I get to see a little bit of Scottish football when I'm not watching Sunderland. So I've seen quite a bit of McGeoch, and I've seen a lot of, obviously, McLaughlin, the goalkeeper. And a big reason we went down last season, to be honest with you, it wasn't so much the goal scoring. Graben obviously scored plenty at the start. Plenty of games we drew 3-3. It was the goalkeeping was just so shambolic, and I think watching McLaughlin, that's kind of helped. But we do need someone to come in. And I looked at Blackburn, who went up last year, and they had 2 strikers that scored 15 goals or 14-15, like Danny Graham, weirdly enough, who we would laugh at. But somebody of that ilk, you mentioned Darren Bent. I personally would never have him back because I can't stand him. But that kind of ilk, someone who is going to just be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, exactly. And there was a young chap who went on loan to Blackburn towards the end of the last season. I know he probably plays for a team that you don't really like. A guy called Adam Armstrong.
Yes.
He was very good at this level. I can't envisage him coming to you on loan.
No.
I don't think he'd be welcomed. But I mean, it's players like that where they don't, you're not going to have to break the bank. I mean, you look at, I know you guys were linked with Mohamed Issa earlier in the window. You've got players at the lower leagues that you can get. You've just got to scout right, and Peterborough, for one of the best teams in the league who always pick these players up from the lower leagues. I think they had a guy called Ricky Miller, who hasn't worked out for him, but they're the sort of Peterborough leading the way of always picking up bargains. And I mean, if you can find those players, Sunderland as a pool, you're going to have a lot of players from League Two that could step up, and you could find a few down there. It's obviously just finding them, which is the issue that everyone has.
For sure. And I think from the outside looking in, from what we know, it looks like Charlie White's the sort of number one target. But I quite like the idea of Jerome Sinclair. Do I 100% trust he's going to get 15 goals? I don't know.
Yeah, see, Jerome Sinclair, I think he's one of these, I always see a lot of forwards in my time, especially at the lower leagues, that they seem to tend to start out wide and they get tried in the central position, because I think Sinclair, you never really see him down the centre a lot. He might sort of come out wide to positions. I mean, Charlie White could be a very good signing for you guys. He's obviously the bigger man. Yeah. but he is very. I know you probably hear a lot. He's good with a big. He's got good feet for a big guy, but he actually has. He's a handful. He puts himself about. He works hard. And he's good with his feet. So when we played Bradford last year, he was obviously the standout player for them. But again, if you did get Charlie Wyke, that is a force to be reckoned with, especially if you have got Sinclair on the last shoulder, or he could start out wide or whatever. But he's a very good player. I don't know how much would they saying you was going to pay for him?
750, 800,000, maybe $1 million, I think. Which I think at this league, if he scores you 15 goals and gets us up, what's £1 million in football these days when you've got Martin Waghorn going for 8 million? So
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like Peterborough have just got Jason Cummings on loan from Forest, which is an unbelievable signing. That's level.
Great signing.
Alongside Jack Marriott in itself is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think Peterborough are probably undervalued in terms of having a good go at it. Plymouth have made a lot of signings, but it's the difference. It's that little bit of quality in the final third, which if you can get it, you're going to have a chance, because you're going to concede goals in this league, no doubt about it. It's not the prettiest of leagues. You have a few teams that try and play football, but if you're good in the final third, it doesn't. You can ship a few goals here and there. And I think Wyke would be a great signing for you, but I think he's a bit out of our reach in terms of number, in terms of funds.
That's where I feel at the minute. I think, again, like I said, I'm saying I feel confident, but I'm coming from a perspective of not really knowing these players we're bringing in. Like I know McGeoch, I know a little bit about Ozturk, I know a little bit about Maguire because he was at Aberdeen a few years ago, but I still feel in my little silly way, not really knowing these players, that we're just one or two strikers away from being probably one of or the favourite for going up. I don't know if we are. From an outside looking in, are we the favourites to go up? Would we be the team to fear, do you think? Or?
Yeah, I think, if the bookies, I think you're evens to be promoted, and that's not even as champions. So I think if you look at odds to go be up as champions, you'll probably be 1 to 5 on probably. I think the only difficulty that you might have is obviously getting that blend together early doors, especially. Obviously, we had it as well when we got relegated. The worst thing that you can do is still have that losing mentality. So if you do lose those first, if you don't win in 3, say for example, I think that's where the challenge comes, because you're going to have a new team. You're going to, you're trying. He's obviously had a massive clear out to get rid of the losing mentality. But yeah, when the fixtures come out, when I saw where you had you first, at first I was like, oh no, I didn't want that. But then on the flip side, I thought, well, Sunderland away is probably going to be the most difficult away game in the whole league, because of the fan base, bigger stadium, and obviously in terms of players. And then you can get it out of the way. But I think a lot of what you'll find, especially at the Stadium of Light, which we found the last 2 years, is you do have a lot of teams coming back, coming to you guys and sitting behind the ball.
Yeah.
So you'll see a lot of the ball, teams will play very narrow. And that's where you're gonna need. That's what I said earlier. Where you're gonna need that something in the final third, because if you're just gonna have Charlie Wyke in the box, you're just gonna get it out wide and get Adam Matthews going across the ball. You can do that all the time, but the teams like the Walsalls and stuff, they're just gonna have 2 big lumps at centre half who'll just have it all day long. So that's why I think you're gonna have that little bit. You need that little bit of nous, especially in like a number 10 or someone who's good on the ball in that central midfield position. But yeah, I think we're going to try and enjoy it on Saturday. I'm not very confident, but I don't think a lot of teams will be in this league, especially going to the stadium. Because I know you still sold a fair amount of season tickets in comparison to
20,000.
Exactly. You're going to have the biggest ground. You're going to have the biggest attendance by a long, long way. I don't know how many we had this so far this year. I think last year our attendances was something stupid, about 6,000-7,000. I could be wrong on that number, but 28,000 seat stadium is pretty sparse. But yeah, you're going to be there to be shot at. I'm not going to make two ways about it. But surely you guys will expect that. And I think as long as you expect that, a lot of people are just going to sit there behind the ball. Sometimes it might not be pretty. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But that's what you've got to do to get out of this league.
We do have the home form's been really bad as well. I mean, truth be told, if you take out pre-season games, because I've seen Sunderland win 6-0 about 2 weeks ago at St Mirren, and then I've seen us beat Livingston last year. I haven't seen Sunderland win at home. I've got a season ticket, and the 3 games we went at home last year I missed. We beat Wolves 3-0 the last game of the season. We beat Fulham 1-0. So there is what I'd like to do if I was, in an ideal world is win our first 3 home games. Even if we just draw the away ones, just kind of get it out of the way, because if we start again, like not picking up points at home, the atmosphere does change. And it is something people might not like hearing this, but it can be overly optimistic or overly pessimistic. It's really hard to find that middle ground with Sunderland, and because of reasons like the seasons we've had in the double relegation, you can't expect people to be like going absolutely nuts about it. But at the same time, I was thinking, because I was born in 86. I'm guessing by your email you were born in 87.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So our timelines of teams playing each other. I remember Charlton. I remember Clive fucking Mendonca very, very well.
Oh, God.
That bastard.
And he's a Sunderland fan.
Oh, he is. And I remember a lot of stuff about sort of Charlton games. I remember obviously drawing 0-0 the season that we got beaten in the playoffs when it was 4-4 at home. I remember us scoring 3 own goals and you won 3-1. But I was trying to think, when was the last time we played Charlton at home? Can you remember it?
If I had a guess,
yeah,
I would guess when Darren Bent scored.
You'd be right. You'd be 100% correct. Yeah, I was looking through some of the names in the team. From a Sunderland perspective, you've got John Stead.
He's still going, isn't he, somewhere?
Andy Gray. Andy Gray's there as well.
Andy Gray, as in the forward?
Yes. Yeah, the worst forward I've ever seen.
We had him after you guys, I think.
Oh,
Andy Gray. Did he go to Burnley after you?
Burnley after us. I think we got him from Sheffield United, I think.
Yeah, and we got him from Burnley.
Horrific striker. Probably the worst. He's like so bad. He kind of almost goes under the radar, and people say people like John Stead and Altidore. But if you remember Andy Gray, Jesus, that guy was not good. It's really been that long since we played you. When I look through Charlton's team, as much as it was 2005, I think, you look through Charlton's team, it reminds me of like 90s random footballers. Like you've got Romadal, Darren Ambrose, Chris Perry, Herman Haridason. Things have changed, haven't they, a little bit?
Yeah. Literally. Because obviously we got relegated. And then we literally had a really poor season. When Pardew was there in the Championship.
Oh, our friend Alan Pardew.
Oh yeah. Well, I bet he's your friend, but he's not one of ours. And he used to play for us. But yeah, and then obviously, and so then when we went down and we lost in the playoffs again. We've had not much luck since '98, and then we.
Right.
and then we went up when Chris Powell came in and literally done what obviously Jack Ross is doing now, and literally tore the squad apart and built a new one. And then we won it by the biggest League One total points. Was there comfortable, and then we went down and we can't get out of it because I think obviously with the owner, with the different managers he brought in, he underestimated the league, and I think that's the worst thing. What you can do is underestimate. Because you're going to get. I'm not going to lie. You might beat teams 5-0 most weeks, but there'll be one game. Probably against, no offence, like a Walsall or something, and then they'll win 1-0 with a dodgy penalty, and you'll be raging. You're going to get those games.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, and it's sometimes not. It's not. The best team always wins. I know it's a cliche, but it's 11v11, and anyone can win, and that's the difference between this league and say maybe the Championship, because. You could be top of the league and lose 3-0. You beat Wolves 3-0 last game of the season. Yeah, you had nothing to play for. Maybe they didn't, but anything can happen. And it's just been a difficult time. And we don't sit there and think we have to be in the Championship. We deserve to be in. We don't. We're not like that. I think we're a Championship club. I think the Championship maybe bottom half. Premier League maybe, but times have changed, and you've just got to. This is what it is, and you've just got to roll your sleeves up and get on with it.
Yeah, looking through sort of Charlton's team, and I actually did remember, and I recognise some players. I'm not as ignorant as as I maybe thought I was. But which players would you say we should look out for? Because I've noticed you got people like Chris Solly, obviously at right back, I believe. Forster Kasky, who used to be at I want to say Reading, was it? He was quite highly rated.
Yeah, he was at Brighton as well. Yeah.
Brighton. I think it was Brighton he may have been at. But if you could pick 3 players that we really should be looking out for, who you think could be your match winners, who would it be?
Well, I mean, it's difficult because Saturday, all of our best players are out. So if we had a fully fit squad, you'd say Tariq Fosu is our best player. Billy Clark is the one that makes it happen. He's injured. And obviously Lyle Taylor, who's obviously injured. So for Saturday, I mean, our forwards are going to be very young. You're going to be very... it's going to be from the youth academy. Chris Solly's a solid right back. But in terms of match winners, Jake Forster Kasky and Joe Aribo, they can pull something out of nothing, but they're not going to be flair players they'll arrive late in the box. But if I had to pick one, I would still go with Carlin Grant, who is he's a young forward. We loaned him out to Crawley last year. I think he got 10 goals since January or something like that. I can see him starting. But I can't, if I'm honest, I can't see many goals, especially from us on Saturday, unless Taylor all of a sudden becomes fit. But it's not looking likely. But Carlin Grant's very quick. He can run at defenders, which obviously defenders don't like. But you haven't got John O'Shea anymore, which I would have liked. I would have liked to have had him against Carlin Grant. It would have made me laugh. But especially because we had one season we had Christian Daly and Gary Doherty.
Oh wow, Gary Doherty, Jesus,
the Ginger Pele,
yeah, wow.
But if I had to pick, I would say Carlin Grant or Jake Forster Kasky out of the 2. But I've probably missed someone off, and people probably shout at me saying something different. But I can't see many goals from us, but I'd say Jake or Carlin.
And who is it you'd fear most from Sunderland side? You can pick 1, you can pick 3. Like, is there anyone you look at and think, shit?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Jerome Sinclair he's quick, but I mean, it's difficult because I don't know what systems you sort of play. I mean, are you guys mainly a 4-4-2? Is he going for it as a wing back? What is he sort of?
So in pre-season, Jack Ross has kind of played, I would say, sort of possession based, but he seems to have the flat back 4, and then he has like McGeoch sort of sitting, but I think McGeoch maybe injured. I could be wrong. I think he might be out. I think it's touch and go. But he has like McGeoch or Cattermole sort of sitting. Oh God, Cattermole is still here.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I'm not that surprised, I suppose, because people don't want him. And then we have like we kind of have it's kind of like a 4-1-2-2-1 or 4-4-1. 4-1-4-1, I suppose, in a way. But you've got like the wingers, which will be probably Lyndon Gooch and probably Maguire on the other side. He has sort of played Honeyman as like a number 10, so it's almost like, I think some preseason games he's had Cattermole and McGeoch sitting with Honeyman, Gooch and Maguire like behind what was Josh Madger, but I'm guessing it's going to be Sinclair unless we sign someone beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say Honeyman before, but I mean, Josh Madger, is that the guy from your youth system?
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, he came on a couple of times towards the end of our season and scored, didn't he?
He actually only scored once. But,
was that on his debut?
Yeah, it was on his first game, but he actually had a really, really good pre-season last year. I think he was our top scorer in pre-season, but then he got like an injury just before, and we went on that really bad run, and by the time he got back in, Grayson, who had a lot of faith in him, had went. So, but he's done really well in pre-season. Again, I was down at St Mirren, obviously, because that was like a bloody home game for me. And he held the ball up well. He managed to give the ball well to Gooch and Maguire. And obviously we won 6-0 and he scored 2. So, I think if I'm honest with you, I don't rate him as highly as maybe some people do. But I do think he would be a good League One level striker. I think you could include him in the first team quite easily, no problem.
Yeah, is McGeady injured as well? Is McGeady injured?
Yeah, he's been out of all. He's been out of, because I expected him to be gone. I almost forget he exists. But Yeah, as far as I'm aware, McGeady wants to stay as well, but he's been out the whole preseason. I think he's out for like another 10 days or something. But because otherwise, McGeady, I think, would absolutely torch this league, if I'm honest with you. And I'm not his biggest fan, but he can pull something out of nothing, McGeady. I don't know what it is, but yeah, he's injured. We're likely to line up. I mean, I don't know, but I would imagine you'd have McLaughlin in goal. You'll probably have Adam Matthews at left back, because I think Reece James is injured. Donald Love at right back. I'm not too sure who'll play centre back. I'm guessing it'll be Baldwin and Louvens. Then you'll have probably Cattermole sitting if McGeoch's fit. It'll be Honeyman, Maguire, and Gooch, I would imagine. And then I would assume it'll be Madger or Sinclair up front. In midfield, I'm not too sure who he'll put next to Cattermole if McGeoch's not fit, because he's been playing Barley Mumba, but Barley Mumba's 16.
Wow.
I can't see that happening.
It's a big. I mean, is he more of a sort of an attacking midfielder, or is he more of a defensive middle, the Bumba?
It's like he's more of a box-to-box midfielder, but I haven't seen him that much. I can't see them playing him, and from what I've heard, I heard that Jack Ross doesn't really see him as a first teamer just yet, but like he has played a relatively big part in pre-season, to be honest. So maybe he will. Yeah,
I mean, it'd be interesting if he does, because I think the way Bo set up, well, certainly last year he plays he did play 4-4-2, but in diamond formation, so we never really had a lot of width. So obviously Jake Forster-Caskey and Joe Reba are very good on the ball, and I don't know who's going to be sitting in that defensive midfield and role, or who's going to be in the attacking third, but we do like to control the ball quite well. We do pass the ball very well. But so it'll be interesting if he does, because he'll have a lot of, especially if Jack Ross has done his homework, he'd obviously want, to beat us. I hope he's not listening. But the way that you do it is you press us high and make us go long. Especially now we've not got Josh McGuinness and possibly Niall Taylor. So I mean, if you're going to press us high and force us to go long, you're going to probably have a lot of the ball. But I mean, if you put a 16-year-old in the middle, and then you're going to have experienced players for Charlton passing it around him, it could be a bit tricky. But you never know. I mean, you've got Lee Cattermole, who's been there, done it, seen the T-shirt, partial to a yellow card, and so I'm sure he knows the game. But it'll be interesting. But I think what we were saying earlier, so I think Honeyman will probably be the danger man. The one player that I do like from Sunderland, but I think he's injured for a while, is a guy called Duncan Watmore. That's the striker, isn't it? The one who just chases around for like 15 years.
What was a real shame? He's had 2 long-term cruciate ligament injuries, and I mean, we did an interview on the site, not me personally, and with his dad, who's a lovely fella by all accounts, and he was saying if you look back to when Duncan first got injured, he was playing in a front three with Defoe and a really on-form Victor Onichebe. He was in the England under-21 squad. By the time he comes back, it's going to be like halfway through a League One season. It's kind of a shame, because on paper, he's probably our best player.
I mean, I remember seeing him. I remember him. Did he score on his debut as well, or am I imagining?
Yeah, he did. He came on against Norwich and scored, but he chipped in quite a few when Allardyce used to bring him on quite late on and just get him to like run people ragged for 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, and he seemed really direct. So,
that's a word for him. Yes.
So I remember, obviously, when I was reading it up the other day to see what other signings you've been having, and noticed that he was injured long term, which was a real shame. But obviously not for us for Saturday. But obviously I hope he recovers well and stuff, because I really like him. But it's going to be interesting, but like it is on any first game of the season, because we're all still feeling our way. Not everyone's going to be 100% fit. You're going to have new players, new systems. It'll be interesting to see how you guys start, if you're going to start fast, because it's a brand new league to obviously you guys in the stands as well. Because I think you'll probably have quite, and rightly so, a lot of expectation.
I
especially
think so.
At this level, which I think is you can expect that, and I wouldn't expect anything less up there. But it's going to be interesting. And I'm just hoping we come out, especially as it's us on Sky, because we don't win on Sky. Especially if we come away with something. If we do lose, which I think we will, as long as we don't get pummeled, I'll be happy.
It's nice to actually hear someone fearing us for once, but we just happened last season as well. So, so just to end then, obviously I ended like this last year all the time, and some people whinged about it. I don't care. So prediction, what are we going to go for?
See, I'm going to go, I'm going to struggle to see a lot of goals in it for us, but I'm just going to go, just for pace for us. I'm going to go, I reckon we'll get an away goal. I think we'll get an away goal, but I think you might sneak it 2-1 or maybe 1-1. I'll go 1-1. I'll be optimistic and go for a 1-1.
I'll take a 3-1 Sunderland, I think. I'm feeling very confident. I don't know why. I think it's one of those snowball effects. Negativity kind of snowballs, positivity snowballed, and I'm in the positive ballpark at the minute. But we'll see how that goes after Saturday. But hopefully it's still going, and I can hammer the Luton fan that I've got next week. But good luck for the season, as long as it doesn't affect ours. Thanks for coming on.
No worries.
This time next year, I'll feel maybe, hopefully even more positive than I have today. But I get the feeling that this is going to be a long old damn season, and it'll be the one I tell my grandparents about, if you know, my grandchildren about even. Geez, that time we went to the third tier and got humped off Walsall or something, as you said before. That's going to happen at some point. But hopefully it's the only time. But cheers for coming on, mate. Appreciate it very much. Good luck for the season, and stay in touch. I'm sure we'll catch up later in the season.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Thanks for having me, and all the best after Saturday.
Indeed, you as well, mate.
Take it easy, mate.
Take it easy, fella. So, first extra of the season. Yeah, I'm actually feeling quite confident. I think most of us are. I don't know if it's just the takeover and stuff like that, but anyone who listened to the Extra podcast last year will know how it just felt like no matter what the result was going to be on Saturday, the big thing was the chairman, obviously Ellis Shaw. Obviously, it's a very different situation completely with Stuart Donald. I haven't, unfortunately, had the privilege to meet the man just yet. Obviously, Connor Bromley is buddied up with him and has become his best friend on the podcast. I'm just still stuck in my bedroom here in Scotland, my spare room, to be precise. But yeah, I like him. I do like him. I know there's been some things aimed at him, like he talks on Twitter too much. But if that's the only complaint we've got, then we're doing all right, aren't we? I don't mind if our chairman goes on Twitter too much. I think it could bite him on the arse, but I quite like the way he connects with the fans. I like the way he's connected with us personally, the way he's got the club at the moment. And I think, how many times did we say this last season? All it's going to take is someone to come in and be like, all right, I'll take this on, and for Short to go. And I think we've got a good guy. I think we've got an honest guy in charge. I don't think it's going to be plain sailing. There is going to be games, as we discussed, where we might play Walsall and get beat 1-0 off some bloody lump at the back. We might make some really bad mistakes at the back, and it might seem like doom and gloom. And here we go again with Sunderland. It's not going to be an easy season. Like, it's really not. I don't think anyone my age or younger will remember a Sunderland side in the third division. I was way too young to remember the first time. But I'm excited for it. It's a challenge. Let's bring it on. Like, why not? I'm not looking at it with, my eyes closed. I know what the league is. I do like to watch Channel 5 now and again and watch some of the teams. And it's a bit like it can be scrappy games, but I'm excited for it. I do feel we're the promotion favourites. Like I said before earlier, get the first 2 or 3 games, get a win in. I think we might do all right here, Right man in charge. I like the players I've seen bringing in. I really like Chris Maguire. I know he hasn't set everyone's pulse racing, but from what I've seen of him in pre-season at St Mirren and obviously the highlights I've seen, I really like what he seems to bring. He's got a bit of a swagger. I think get a striker that can get us 15 goals and we'll be all right. And as Nathan said before, it's not going to be too hard to find someone who can bang in 15 goals. It seems like the hardest thing in the world, but it's not. I don't think this level. So yeah, I hope, obviously, we're speaking about a home win come the Luton game, which I will be back with. I'm going to very much keep this as a weekly thing, especially for the league games, because I do enjoy it. I think last year I just got a bit down, along with all of us, really. But now that Stuart's in, now that we're in League One, now there's new grounds, new fans and everything to speak about. Yeah, let's go on. Let's do it. Let's all do it together, and let's hopefully see a league win or a promotion at the very least. Jump on next week. See you on Saturday at the stadium, maybe. Get behind the lads and let's get those 3 points. Cheers.